sometimes that just tables everything relating to the woman, the struggle she's been through, her peculiarities, like I like to say a lot of times, what she's really going through, how you can help her and not be a burden or add to her unique situation already, especially in a country like Nigeria. And that's why we decided to have a special dedication to Diary of a Nigerian Woman. For the past 3 weeks now, we've been talking about the Nigerian woman, having different conversations and having different professionals just detailing their personal experience. This morning we'll be wrapping that up, and trust me, it will be a really good one because I have a professional who's a female. So we're going to be having that balanced take first from her personal point of view and also as a professional, because at the end of it all, let's talk about her mental state and how she can be fully balanced. But you know what? We'll take this first breather, and when we come back, we'll settle into the conversation. You can join us on YouTube, by the way. YouTube is youtube.com/smooth 91 FM Lagos.
Music. Love.
We're supposed to start by 11. We usually have an ad break by 10. So because we're supposed to start at 11, then I just have to take that break. Okay. So we'll come in after that.
98.1.
My guy, this your sneaker shine. How did you get the original? Did you travel or what?
In this economy, I bought it from Adidas official store on Jumia.
Yep, with several international and local brands on offer, you are sure to get quality and original items when you shop directly from the brand's official store on Jumia. You can shop for these items at juicy discounts during the brand festival from 12th of September to 2nd of October. Make secure payments online, enjoy free delivery on orders above 1,999 naira, and return any order for free. Terms and conditions apply. Jumia, your everyday delivered.
Wanna play a game?
Yes. When it's game time, it's fun time. And when it's fun time, it's kids time. Because kids think the darndest things.
Because it's not magic.
Like inventing the future time machine or flying to the moon with just a cape on.
So I could discover new lands.
The Smooth 98.1 Studios presents Curious Minds as we explore the wonder world of today's kids.
I want to be an astronaut, food designer, fortune teller, an entrepreneur.
Hear what they hear, see what they see, and know what they know.
A something something.
Curious Minds, every Saturday from 8:40 a.m.
That's all, folks.
Smooth.
Smoother than a fresh jar of secrets.
Proudly, that's who we are. This is Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. You get to enjoy the smooth music. You get to enjoy the smooth talk. And right now, it's all about the Soul Sisters because we are talking about Diary of the Nigerian Woman. And my guest is a consultant psychiatrist and a mental health advocate. She's somebody who's certified professionally to inform you, to educate you, and also empower you for optimal health. I am talking about somebody who is very popular on Instagram for her content creation. I didn't think a posh doctor was going to go really gangster just for you to understand the message of mental health. But anyways, anyhow, the message has to be received. She is going all out for it. And I am referring to Dr. Bonjubola Abiri. Good morning.
Hi, Sharon. Good morning, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you. Maybe we should start from that. Why your post, the anti-Ramo start, where did it come from? Because the first time I saw it, I was shocked. I was like, wait, this is our Queen's English speaking doctor going all out.
Okay, so I think it's interesting to particularly state that when I watch those videos, I laugh, and I can't believe that it is actually me. And then sometimes I look at myself and I'm like, who really are you? All of that creativity would have started during the COVID-19 pandemic. Unfortunately, unlike most people, I was working full time. So while everyone was sitting at home, we're the frontline workers. And so we're really working. And so after COVID-19, during COVID-19, we did a couple of illustrations, videos. So I did a lot of voiceovers, had a lot of cartoons so that people could understand what was going on with COVID-19. But, one day I was just doing a video and it just randomly dropped let's do this,
big time.
Raz wannabe, babe, ooh, seems to sometimes know, sometimes it's confused, sometimes it's trying to find out. Because what I've come to realize is, forget all the English we're speaking. Who is talking to the people at the grassroots? Who is getting the message out to them? Who is ensuring that the message is real, it is relatable, and it is something that they can associate with and say that, wow, this happened to me, or this are my symptoms. And so tada, Auntie Rama was born.
Do you find all those sound bites yourself, or sometimes people send them to you, or you have a team for that?
Well, so it's a mix of a lot, but most times I find it, and once I find what I hear, I like it, I keep it, and I'm like, what should I do with this? What should I do with this? You know, it's
Wow.
interesting when I pick up something and I show it to my husband, and my husband is like, why are you asking me? I thought you knew all these things. And I'm like, well, sometimes I have an idea of what I want to do, but I don't know what the content will be. Sometimes some people who know that I do this send it and say, do something with this. Let's see how creative you'll be. And then sometimes someone on my team will just be like, okay, let's take this. Let's see what, Dr. G is able to do with it. So it's a mix of a lot of things. It's not just me. It's the team works. Yeah.
For since you did that one on body shaming, and I don't know, maybe because of the fact that I was going to have you this morning, it's been playing in my head all day. Oh mommy, oh to shame me. No, that was one of my absolute favorites.
And it's interesting because when I first of all heard that hook, I didn't like it.
Oh.
Yeah, I felt like you had, insulting or derogatory comments, oh mommy, oh to shame me. Aha. I was like, nah, it's mommy, no. I'm like, nah, I say no. But after a while, I thought about it and I thought about how useful it would be. So, for instance, for that one, I sent it to somebody on my team and I'm like, what should we do with this? And she was like, let's use it for body shaming. I'm like, well, it wouldn't be a bad idea. But I was particularly amazed at the response that, a lot of people identified with it. And I think that's the thing about the message, being able to get something out there that people can tap into and say that this is me, this is likely to be what I'm going through, and I like how this person is relaying or relating the message.
Yeah, it's really refreshing and really just breaks it down to bits. Thank you so much for going all out, because content creation, I can only imagine what goes into it with your schedule.
Yeah.
So let's start now from the basics. You are a woman, yes, apparently, but you have been at the front line. You're a consultant psychiatrist. You have been in this mental health space for a long time. I'm not sure how you got into it, but you have been interfacing and you've had conversations with organizations, moderated events that relate to mental health. Now, let's talk about the Nigerian woman. First off, how would you even describe the Nigerian woman from a professional point of view, assessing from you're a therapist, from someone who has seen and interacted with females? How would you define her?
Well, so I'll define, the Nigerian woman in quite a number of words. Strong, yet weak. Blessed, yet broken. Bruised, yet beautiful. Messed up, yet, trying to put out a message there. You and I sitting here and the other two ladies in the studio are pretty much a microcosm of what the Nigerian woman is like, and no two stories are the same. And so, every time I sit across a Nigerian woman, I'm thinking, what am I going to hear this time? Where is the problem going to come from? Am I going to hear trauma from childhood? Am I going to listen to difficulties in a relationship, difficulties at work, difficulties with conceiving a child, difficulties with taking care of a child with special needs? Am I going to look at abuse? What exactly is this person bringing on? Am I going to look at, low self-esteem, body image issues? What exactly is it? And so you'd find many Nigerian women looking beautiful on the exterior. A few months ago, I had granted an interview to the Guardian newspaper. And one of the things that I had said, which was the headline, was, don't be pressured by other women who seem to have it together. Many times the Nigerian woman is poised to think that every other woman has it together. Every other woman, has their stuff together, and everybody else is, just coming up as perfect as they are. But beyond that strength, beyond all that, beauty, is also a soft heart willing to be tended to. And so for me, that's the Nigerian woman. A combination of all of those things.
I think what strikes me is what you said, strong yet weak, because so far this is a concluding part of the series, and we've had different women talk about different things they've been through. And when I tell them to describe the Nigerian woman, strong is the first thing that comes to mind. But I have never heard strong yet weak, and that's why I was taken aback. So how would you define her strength, and what characterizes her weakness? What is her weakness? What is weakening her?
So the strength of a Nigerian woman is something that has been handed down from generation to generation. And so you often hear that thing like, Do you know how strong I am? I am a strong woman, strong black woman. You know, that label that we have put on for so long. And that label had been put on because people never wanted to be seen as weak or vulnerable. Which is why I had to say that part about the fact that the Nigerian woman is strong, yet weak, vulnerable, with, you know, our own weaknesses, our own threats, having to battle through, you know, quite a lot in life. But because we think many times that that's not how the society wants to perceive us, we want to be seen as pushing out our perfect sides. A lot of Nigerian women are strong because, one, that's what's been handed down to them. It's all they've ever known. To show up, show out all the time. Their experiences also make them, you know, that way, because we're faced with different things, you know, at different times. Life throws you different things, and you can't be seen to say that I can't, you know, make it happen. The environment, of course, environmental expectations. You are the daughter, sister, mother, wife, cook, nanny, driver, chef, doctor, engineer,
Nurse,
security man, and all of that. So society makes it look as if at most times the Nigerian woman has no choice but to be strong. What makes her weak? The same society.
Okay.
And so society, you know, puts all of that, you know, load on her, yet you don't enable her or equip her with the resources that she needs. Society says that a woman is supposed to be, you know, I was supposed to give a talk yesterday, and a woman is supposed to act like a man, still be like a horse, speak like a lady. A woman is supposed to walk like she doesn't have children and train the children like she doesn't work. The expectations are high. And so when you give expectations to women, but you don't equip them with the resources to be able to cope or that are needed to thrive, you also remove all those strengths and make them frail and weak. I think that the perception that women have of themselves too, which many times they are trying to cover up, also makes them weak, because society says that the woman is the weaker vessel. The woman is supposed to be seen but not heard. So many times, societal expectations. But then if you then want to come back to the family, where people have said that a woman's place is in the kitchen and in the other room, about how it is that, you know, women should not go to school. So societal expectations, cultural expectations, religious expectations, and of course, the family also plays a role, especially if you come from a family that does not give any credence to who the woman is supposed to be.
I think one thing that is striking from what you've explained, especially the strength, is how she has been handed that strength and she doesn't seem to have an option. Now, let's define what ideal strength should look like, because what she might tag as strength might be toxic. It might not really be strength. So, what should strength look like, especially from the healthy point of view?
Well, you know, I'd say, well, strength is being able to do, to will to do, to be able to achieve, set out things that you want to do, and be able to achieve them within a possible time. However, it's also realizing that you can be weak, and that your weakness does not mean that you are not capable. Your weakness does not define who you are. It does not mean that you are not meant for the top. It's okay to take a break. For me, that's what a strong woman is. Not the one who keeps pushing and pushing and pushing every time. No. Strength, true strength, is also knowing when to take a break. Knowing when to say, I don't think I can do this. Not feeling so bad that you don't want to show your vulnerability to the world. And so a lot of strength and beauty and courage comes from a place of vulnerability. There's this example that we always give, that when is a bird most beautiful? When it's doing what? When it's flying. But it's also the time when it's most vulnerable. And so many times we just want to be like ships that are at harbor, not sailing. But that's not what ships are for. And so in showing off our strength, we also need to realize that sometimes we can get tired. And when we are tired, we should rest. And know that tomorrow is another day. We should know that we can't always be on top forever. There should be space for another woman. Strength is also allowing other women to be. You know, it's quite unfortunate, but what research shows is that the greatest enemies of women
We have talked about this.
are other women. We're hard on other women, we're tough on other women. Instead of encouraging them and seeing what they're doing so well, we try to pull them down and say that you're not doing this. At least most of us, not all of us. And so true strength also comes from a successful woman allowing other women to be successful and being the light for other women, being the one who holds other women up, knowing that this person got this thing or was able to achieve what they were able to achieve because I also supported them. For me, that's strength. It's not for one person, it's for everyone.
Ooh, can you feel that? She's talking to your soul. That's what happens when you get the therapist effect. I am having a conversation with Dr. Bojubola Abiri. She is a psychiatrist, a consultant, and I'm sure that you can feel the effect of that. I mean, the calming effect and the way you're just personalizing and saying it quite gently. It's really soothing. Thank you so much. Now we'll take on this breather, and when we come back, we'll talk about the mental health of the Nigerian woman. How is she? Is she balanced? Is she mentally healthy? Because there is the line that there is no health without mental health. So how is she really doing mentally? That's what we will get into when we come back from this break. You're listening to Soul Sisters, and we are talking Diary of the Nigerian Woman.
98.1.
If you want to stream, you can actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you can support. You can use this to support your.
You're talking as well, I'm sorry, I think.
Yes, you should be able to lean against it. No, don't worry, you can lean.
Okay, and then to do it live.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Easy to use, easy to read. One Expert, the reliable bookmarker.
Okay, we're coming back.
Your feel good, smooth music.
If there is anything making me feel good right now, it is the voice of Dr. Abiri in the studio. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're joining us for the first time, you are welcome. The show is Soul Sisters. The conversation is centered on Diary of the Nigerian Woman, and we are talking about everything relating to the Nigerian woman, starting with who she is, what she has characterized or defined as strength, and what strength really is from the healthy point of view. And I have my guest as a consultant psychiatrist. Her name is Dr. Bojubola Abiri. And thank you so much for, the really good time so far. So let's come back to it. What is from your professional assessment so far, your interaction with everybody, or no, not everybody, at least with the women, what would you say is the average state of the mental health of the Nigerian woman?
Okay, so I smile because, when people come into my office, especially women, so most of the people who seek mental health support and care are females. Maybe that's reflective of the general population as well. But no two stories are ever the same. Everybody comes carrying their own issues, problems, trials, challenges, trauma, and disorders as well. And so I always like to say that, there's something we call the 8 pillars of wellness.
Okay.
When anybody walks through your door, regardless of how you start the interview, how long the interview lasts, what you're trying to do is pick from all of those 8 pillars: physical, emotional, social, environmental, intellectual, financial, spiritual. Maybe I've left one out. But by the time you sit with people, you're able to identify that, people have problems either here or on all the 8.
Wow.
And that's possible. Some people show up and they have financial issues. Some people show up and they have social issues, problems with social interactions. Some people show up because they don't like how they look, or their physical health is affecting their mental health, or their mental health is affecting their physical health. Some it's because they have spiritual issues. Some it's occupational. Some it's environmental. I don't like where I live, or I have to move, I'm having problems. But different people come with different things. And like I said, some could actually come with a barrage of as many as 8. And so you have, different people at different times of their lives facing and battling different things. And so what woman A comes in with will be different from what woman B comes in with. You can see a young girl whose issue is that she wanted to get married and they didn't support her marriage, and they were using derogatory terms to speak to her at home, and she became depressed. You can see another woman who is facing domestic violence, physical, emotional, sexual, neglect, financial, and is at the verge of ending her own life. You can see another woman who has a special needs child and has no form of support from spouse or from family. You can see another woman who is unhappy in her own marriage and is having an extramarital affair. And so the list usually goes on. And so as Nigerian women, we're at different points of the continuum. We often say that, no one is really mentally healthy. No one really has it all. And so you're actually between mental health and mental illness. Depending on the challenge, the issues, we could tilt and go either ways. However, I think it's important that I put it out there that quite a lot of Nigerian women are battling with a lot of unresolved traumatic experiences. Many times not their own fault. Again, handed down. And that they have gone through from one generation to another, which unfortunately is at present setting the tone of their own current lives. And so when a lot of women come in, I also have to deal with a lot of trauma. So some Nigerian women are coasting along. Some appear to be doing just fine. But quite a number of Nigerian women have a lot of unresolved issues, either past experiences or current challenges that are taking a toll, not just on their mental, but their physical health as well.
Okay, before I ask the next question, I'm curious, who seeks mental health services more, the man or the woman?
I feel like you know the answer, but you just want me to say it.
I
The
need to
woman.
know.
The woman.
Okay, that is, I'll not say that is good enough, especially in the context of this conversation, but at least the fact that she is seeking the health, the service means she's on the right track.
Yes.
Now, what would you say? We know that each person's situation is different, but generally, what would be that your recommendation to her? Because a number of people do not even know what is wrong with them, and they don't know what they are carrying. It's until they get a trigger that everything comes out and realize, oh, this is what I was dealing with. She might be angry, but not realize that this is a carryover trauma. So, what will be your recommendation or your advice to her on how she should just do better mentally?
So, like Maya Angelou says, if you don't know better, you can't do better. And so, like, I would also say that no one fully arrives. No one has it all. No one's package is, So every once in a while, I also will get to speak to my own therapist whenever I'm going through my own difficulties and I need someone to talk to. And so realizing and identifying the fact that mental health is something that we all have. But if you don't keep your health, you can, break down with an illness, a mental health challenge, especially when you even look at the fact that the WHO has said that 1 in 4% at some point in their lives will have a mental health disorder. In Nigeria, you can be sure that that number is, it's much more than that. And so the woman should make herself a priority, which is something many women don't do. Many women put ourselves out there for everyone else. Everyone else takes from us. Or empty, past reserve, and then we start struggling to take care of ourselves. So identify that we all have mental health, but if it's not taken care of, you can break down. 2, make yourself a priority. 3, know yourself. Self-awareness is key. A lot of people don't even know themselves, especially women. And that's because the gratification that we get most times, we wait for other people to do it for us. We wait for other people to define who we are, what we do, what we say, how we say it, whether it's good or not. And so know yourself, because it is in knowing of yourself that the best will emerge. Then be able to regulate yourself. Okay. If you know yourself, you know your emotions, you know your triggers, you know your thoughts, you know your... A key part is that women should heal from their own trauma. I'm currently reading a book. It's titled Emotional Inheritance. And it talks about how every family has trauma. And how even unconsciously, we will transmit that trauma to children yet unborn if we don't take the responsibility to end whatever traumatic experience that we have gone through or we are currently going through. The cycle should end with us. If there's nothing that any woman that's listening to me remembers today, I want you to take responsibility for yourself, to heal from whatever trauma it is that you're going through, and to realize that the life of many yet unborn, and probably a lot of people around you, lies with you. lies with that decision to resolve from the trauma you've experienced, which, like you said, when a trigger comes, it brings back that memory, more like a post-traumatic stress situation. Seek to end that trauma, the cycle of trauma, and of course, seek to be better and do better. When you know better, you can do better.
I'd like you to shed light on two things. First is one thing you mentioned, making yourself a priority. And secondly is the issue of self-love. Now, the truth is I sometimes cringe when I hear self-love from some people because I am not sure they understand, or maybe I do not get their understanding of self-love. So what exactly is self-love? What does it entail? What does putting yourself or making yourself a priority, what does it mean?
Or, when I have conversations like this, one of the things that I say when I get to this slide on self-kindness, self-compassion, and self-love is that when we hear the words kindness, compassion, love, and any other words, like that, we usually think of it in the context of giving it to other people, never in the context of gifting it to ourselves. And so self-love clearly starts with realizing that I am also a person and I am deserving of every beautiful, good, and kind thing that I give out, hoping that you always give out kind stuff. Yeah, that you're deserving and worthy of every kind thing that you share and give to someone else. And so, usually when you do something wrong and it's your fault, you're harder on yourself than you would be on someone else. You would make excuses for other people. You would tell them to see things, in different ways. Bringing the spotlight to yourself every once in a while. Realizing that you're also an individual deserving of love, deserving of attention, affection, caring for your own self. Realizing that you cannot serve from an empty vessel. That's self-love. Stopping to give your own self the love, attention, affection that you would ordinarily almost always give to other people. That's kindness, that's love, that's compassion, and that's the hallmark of mental health.
I asked that because I needed to get the balance, or at least the thin line between self-love and selfishness.
I knew that was where you were going, even though you didn't say it on the outside. And, I would respond to that with this sentence, that self-care is not selfish. However, sometimes the only selfish thing you can do for yourself is to be selfless.
Hey.
Put yourself first. People will only get from you what is left in that cup or in that jar or on that battery. But if you give everyone of yourself, most times people don't even ask the woman, how are you doing? How are you coping? Like your brother say, you're just showing up every time. And like I always say, you show up with glam, you show up with glitz. And so people don't think that you're struggling or that you've hit rock bottom. Show up for yourself first. The world can wait. When you're done taking care of yourself, recharging, refueling, and rejuvenating yourself, the world will have the best of you. But you will also have the best of yourself.
I think at the end of it all, it's almost as if every Nigerian is a victim of Nigeria, and this is what I mean. They expect you in Nigeria. I don't know if we really mean the word or the sentence, how are you? It's a greeting. It has turned into a greeting. Because they expect you to be fine. What are you talking about? You're a Nigerian. You're supposed to be fine. Have you seen Nigeria? You're supposed to be fine every day. So when people even ask you how are you, they are not expecting you to lay down their problems or tell them how you're feeling, because they are not really ready. Because if that person too should tell you how they are, while I go jam problem. So I think at the end of the day, it's as if Nigeria is first the matter that needs to be addressed, and then the individual sex. You have the men and the women. But then let's talk therapy. Because if you tell the average Nigerian to go for therapy,
Yeah,
he'll tell you he doesn't need it. What is therapy?
well, so therapy is talk therapy, professional therapy. So it's important to distinguish it from counseling. Counseling is, you go to someone who has been given the skills, a few skills to be able to deal with your day-to-day, life issues. Therapy, however, is offered by trained professional counselors, therapists, psychotherapists, psychiatrists, psychologists, who have the skills and, of course, are guided by the ethics of the profession. If you go to see a counselor, your expectations should not be the same as if you went to see a licensed therapist. Speaking to someone, I said, I've seen a lot of very, very important people. Everyone who sees me is important. But, if you wanted to look at socioeconomic status and you were looking at politicians, entertainers, but you would never know whoever I was speaking about, because in my mind, even when I'm talking about you, I'm probably changing gender, probably changing age, even if I wanted to give you an example. And so a therapist is trained. A therapist knows their onions. A therapist is guided by the ethics that my patient comes first, that I have to practice confidentiality. I have to do no harm to this patient, and that the patient also has a say in all that, the conversation is about. So that's largely therapy. Therapy is guided. It is guided by the therapist. But I think that another thing that people come to therapy with is they have a lot of expectations that the therapist is just going to give me a list of 1 to 20. This is what you do, blah, 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 blah. However, the therapist will work with what it is that you have brought to therapy. And so whatever your story is, whatever your experience is, the therapist has to go back, make sense of it, and see how it is that it is interfering or impacting on your current life. Because our actions don't just happen. Our actions are a mix of nature and nurture, and all the experiences that we've had all our lives. So that skill set, the fact that the therapist is trained to understand. I think one very important point that I must make about the therapist is that the therapist knows when to refer. And so even as a psychiatrist with some, experience with psychology, there are some patients that when I see them, I will not take them and say, I will continue to see you, because no. If I feel and believe and know that another person has the expertise, much better expertise than myself to deal with that situation, I will point you in the right direction. Not many people who claim to be a lot may be able to do that. But at the end of the day, the most important thing is whether the patient sees you or sees somebody else, you want to ensure that the individual gets the best. I'll give you an example. A few weeks ago, I was seeing a child, an adolescent, with my psychologist, and she reached out to me outside the session, sent me messages about how she had been self-harming, cutting herself, but she also said she didn't want me to mention it in the therapy room. And so you can imagine how difficult that was for me. But because we had discussed with her that we're managing you together, we can always discuss your case, I discussed with the other therapist, who is male, by the way. And so the next time she came in and we're talking, I just noticed, the environment was a bit cold. And I told the other therapist to ask her if she would like to see just him, me, or both of us. And she said, well, that she would prefer to see the male therapist. Whatever makes her feel comfortable and happy. At the end of the day, my goal, our goal, every therapist's goal is that your patient makes progress.
You already took a peek into the next question. I was going to ask, what does a therapist seek to achieve? Yeah, but hold that thought. We'll take this breather and come back. It's the last one. And when we come back, we'll actually wrap this up and you'll give us your last words and recommendation. Time really has flown by. You're listening to Soul Sisters here on Smooth 98.1.
My name is IBK Spaceship Boy. I inspire my world through music. On Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. Stay tuned.
Babe, could you renew my Airtel data subscription?
Of course, darling. Anything for you. All you see is me sobbing for pay, but what I see is my wedding day. The important things in life are powered by data. Dial *141# to choose any data plan that works for you. Airtel, the smartphone network.
This is only a taste of our next release. Suffering and smiling.
The typical
The real
Nigerian.
Lagos talks.
Only on Smooth
In
98.1.
my environment, politically, my society is underdeveloping because of an alien system on our people.
The facts, the truth, the news, your opinions.
My one and only question is,
Tolushi on YouTube says,
When
"Go
you
Doc."
talk, Lagos listens because
Can't hear
we
you.
bring to
Your
the
headset.
fore the top headlines and the daily
Tolushi
essential
is
stories
hailing you
about
on
the
YouTube.
nation as
On
they happen.
YouTube, Tolushi Francis.
Okay.
Nothing is coming out of it.
Me, I say, now your fault be that. From harsh economy to trickery politics, sports to entertainment, we talk it all.
Oh, my people.
When you talk, Lagos feels your pulse.
We cannot go back to quiet.
Lagos Talks on Smooth 98.1, Mondays to Fridays from 9 a.m.
Every one of us will have a chapter for history. No
Smooth 98.1. Absolutely no one does it.
Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It's Soul Sisters. And we are down to about 2 minutes or 3 minutes just to wrap up the conversation on Diary of the Nigerian Woman. It's been a wonderful one, very soothing, calming, and enlightening too, I dare say. My guest has been Dr. Bojubola Abiri. She is a consultant psychiatrist, mental health advocate, and she's really good at this thing if you've been listening. I'm sorry I forgot to tell you to send in your messages. Please, if you have I have just 1 more minute. So if you want to call or you want to text, just do it as quickly as possible. The line to text is 0809 444 0981. Again, 0809 444 0981. That is the WhatsApp line. But you can call the number 01 448 9981. So while you're trying to quickly call, I will take the last word or two from you. So I said before going on the break that what the therapist seeks to achieve. And this is almost the Nigerian, the person who's listening, trying to see why he or she should go for therapy.
All right. So, without trying to state the title of my book, the truth is everybody needs therapy. Even the therapist needs therapy. When people come to therapy, like I said, it's interesting that they have different expectations, including, there was someone who came to see me one day and she was like, she had issues getting a partner. And when I was done, she was like, "Is that all?" I'm like,
What do you expect?
"What do you expect?" She said she thought I was going to get her a partner. That's not part of my job description. And so when people come to therapy, I usually, start with pretty much listing out what the expectations are. I tell you what, I welcome you to therapy. I tell you what the ethics of the job are. I tell you what it is that we will be doing in that first session. So again, with professionalism and the right skills, you'll be guided when you come in. Not that you know what to expect. You know what to expect on your second session because you should actually be told that, oh, in this session, this is what we'll be addressing. People should realize that the therapist does not create therapy. The patient and the therapist create therapy. Yes, the therapist will give all the skills. The therapist will guide in that direction. However, it is what the individual brings to therapy that we will work on. At the end of every session or every first session, the therapist should actually ask the patient to write out what their expectations of therapy, and you'll be shocked. What exactly does this person want? What are they hoping to achieve with all that they have brought? I've seen people who see me once and say, "Thank you. I guess this is the end." Meanwhile, you realize that we're only just unraveling and on opening, and there's still so much to be done. So people must realize that therapy takes time. Therapy there's this image I always use. A chicken who looks really nice comes into therapy, and after therapy looks very ruffled. The next image is a chicken who looks very ruffled coming into therapy, and after therapy looks really nice. Therapy can be unpredictable. Therapy can be tough, can be difficult. It can reopen wounds or things that you've kept in boxes for years. But therapy is needed. Therapy will heal, it will soothe, it will help, and it would, ensure that the person gets pointed in the right direction. For me, I'm always pro-therapy, not just because I am a therapist, but because I have seen people flourish, people empowered, and people get to do better just because they decided to take a peek into the past. And of course, with all that they learned, their futures became better for it. Regardless of how dark, difficult it may seem, it's important to consider therapy.
Thank you very much for this advocacy for therapy. But in few words, what will be your last words to the Nigerian woman and the Nigerian man who cares about a Nigerian woman that
Thank
is
you for adding
listening?
that. And so I often always say that whenever I get to speak about the Nigerian woman, or a conversation on the Nigerian woman, or the mental health of a Nigerian or of a woman, I always say the conversation is not just for the woman, but also for the man who loves the woman, and for the man who wants to be and do better for and by the woman. You are beautiful, you are valued, you are phenomenal. However, you may have scars, and regardless of your scars, you are still beautiful. Instead of hiding all that has happened to you, it's important to go back, like I said a few minutes ago, and start opening all of those boxes. Because trauma that we don't deal with, past experiences that we don't deal with, unresolved, unconscious impulses that we don't deal with, will show up in our life almost every day, in almost every relationship, and in almost every situation and circumstance. So be you man, woman, young, old, Christian, Muslim, please take your mental health seriously. Give it the best attention that you can. Make your health a priority, but more importantly, your mental health a priority. And like I always like to end with, remember that there is no health without
mental health.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I feel like giving you a full round of applause now. Thank you so much for the session. It's been therapeutic.
Yeah.
Thank you. And for you listening, you can seek out Dr. Bojubola Abiri on Instagram. And yeah, Instagram actually. She's very active there. Or on LinkedIn or any platform really. Just search for Dr. Bojubola. That is GBONJUBOLA, right?
That's correct.
And then ABIRI. You'll find her there. You'll see tons of videos, all educative, different in however or in whichever form you want to consume it. She has made it for you. If you want the really corporate professional talking to you, or the Auntie Ramo giving you the spicy and loving, refreshing content, it's all there for you. So just check out and get more information on what it is about. Thank you again. I can never say thank you enough.
You're very welcome. I feel like this has been a long time coming. I'm glad we eventually made it happen.
Yes, actually. And if you're just joining us, you are feeling bad that you have missed out on the session. Don't worry. We thought about you ahead of time, so we streamed the video for you. What you can do is go to our YouTube channel. It is youtube.com/smooth91fm Lagos. If you're also part of our WhatsApp family, we'll put it up on our WhatsApp status so that you just click on the link and you will view the video. Share it with your friends and your family. Share it with that Nigerian woman. And if you're a man, also, it's good for you because everybody needs to be balanced and at the same time helping each other. Yeah. Thank you. Our job here is done, but do not worry. Strictly So continues here on Smooth 98.1.
This is a woman's world. Let's talk
Thank
about
you.
the woman. Women make
Thank
up
you.
more than half of the
Finally,
world's population.
finally, after all these days.
Has got a story to tell.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we should take a picture.
Yeah, we should. My phone has died, by the way.
Yeah,
So I guess you guys will send me the.
As many
Yeah.
children's lives as I could.
Soul Sisters, a discourse on
What we taking?